Nostradamus was a great prophet, but he's not famous for being organized. He may have seen the future and wrote about them, but he did not make it easy for us to know when these disasters will happen. For 400 years, we have to wait till it is too late to know what Nostradamus was talking about. Unlike Nostradamus, Wan Tiangong, the author of Chinese Prophecy Tui Bei Tu from the 7th century, was extremely organized in his 60-poem-like prophecy. He used 4-line poems in a collection of 60 to illustrate the future history of China. To make it easy to understand, he not only added an illustration picture, all poems followed a strict timeline. And for the last 1,300 years since its release, Tui Bei Tu has not missed one dynasty change or war. It is like a history book. If Tui Bei Tu is so accurate, why don't we compare it with Nostradamus' Book of Prophecy? Since Nostradamus talked mostly about France and Europe, while Tui Bei Tu focused only in China, it would be hard to make the comparison. However, since both will end on Doomsday, comparing the two will give us the confirmation we need on if there is a Doomsday, and possibly a date for the Doomsday, right? But first, we should check if there is any corroborating predictions on the last century, as Nostradamus did mention about Japan, World War II, and Asia. So I decided to look in Century 1 again, as I found it hard to believe that Nostradamus would miss the Chinese Civil War in his Century 1 war collection, since 6 million people were killed during the conflict. Just as I expected, Nostradamus did not miss it. It took it as a description of Napoleon's exile. In Quatrain 132 we read, quote, "The great empire will soon be exchanged for a small place which soon will begin to grow. A small place of tiny area, in the middle of which will come to lay down his scepter." Think about it this way, although Napoleon was exiled to the 2 small islands, neither Elba nor St. Helena had ever grown. So what is this quatrain about? This quatrain is about the Republic of China, commonly known as Taiwan. Prior to 1949, the Republic of China, led by KMT and Chiang Kai-shek, is the most populous country in the world and a member of the powerful United Nations Security Council. After 1949, and after being defeated by the Communist Chinese, the Republic of China government moved to Taiwan, which is a very small place in a tiny area. However, Taiwan's economy took off in 1950. The ROC government never conceded defeat and still claims to be the only legitimate Chinese authority, which is Nostradamus' quote of scepter. Didn't Nostradamus have this one right on? Since that quatrain is about Taiwan, the Republic of China, let's compare what was said with Tui Bei Tu. Number 40 poem in Tui Bei Tu, it is translated as follows. 1, 2, 3, 4. The master governs hardly any land. A small government ruled with growth and prosperity. Taiwan's president in 1949, Chiang Kai-shek, was the leader of China during and after World War II. He lost China to the communists but ruled with Taiwan with vision. He was re-elected as president 4 times till his death in 1975, kind of in line with the 1, 2, 3, 4 quote. While Taiwan's economy grew, the people granted equal education rights and freedom never before seen. My next task is to see if the poem after number 40 correctly describes what happened after the Chinese Civil War. Number 41 is commonly accepted as being about Hong Kong. Not only the word Hong was an answer to the word riddle in the 4-line poem, the 4 additional explanation quotes mention 99 years, which is the term of the lease for Hong Kong. Then number 42 is definitely about the current Taiwanese government. The poem stated, "A pretty lady came from the west, brought peace to the once chaotic government. Weapons on the ground will be fine, although standing on dangerous ground." Could the pretty lady be Taiwan's first elected female president, Tsai Ing-wen? She got her master's degree from Cornell University and her PhD in the UK. She spent years overseas and passed the bar exams in both United States and Taiwan. Interesting. But what's really interesting is her name, Yingwen. In Chinese, it means English. The pretty man doesn't mean with a pretty face, but with a connection to the West. The first several months of her administration were filled with trouble, but this poem seems to indicate that it will be fine. The next is poem 43, which seems to show the relationship with the two Chinas. The picture shows a big one walking next to a small one, just like China and Taiwan. The poem reads, "The reign holds no sovereign. The administration can't administrate," starting with difficult challenges, but ending with eventual peace. The next poem seems to show the rise of a new China. The first four lines can be translated as, "With the glorious sun and moon, darkness fades away. Birds fly to see the great, two wings with four legs." The literal translation, the explanation poem, and the picture all seem to show China's domination of the world stage. However, this can happen 100 years from now or 500 years from now. How do we know when this will happen? I think this is about now, as the name of the Chinese leader Xi Jinping is encoded in this poem. The two wings mentioned is the Chinese symbol of feather. It is the top part of the Chinese last name, Xi. Xi is an extremely rare last name. It is not even listed in the top 100 most common Chinese last names, which account for 84.77% of all Chinese population, while the name of his wife and his daughter are included in the first three characters of the poem. This can't be just coincidence. This must be his way to confirm with us the timeline. Why do we need to dig so deeply into the Tui Bei Tu? Because it gives us a clear picture of the timeline. With number 43 and number 44 both being about events now, we can say with certainty that number 45 will happen next. Well, I hate to tell you, but number 46 is the start of the Doomsday prophecy. The picture in number 45 shows two soldiers pointing weapons towards the sun. The poem reads, quote, "The guest from the west will stop at the east. The shame is washed away with wood, fire, gold, and water." The explanation poem reads, "The whole world gets together to face this fiery change. The sun is hidden in the ocean. The time for the sun is gone. No more the military threat feared. Its end finally came." This can either mean the world unites together to fight an alien force, or the country of Japan loses the next fight and was basically eliminated from the world stage. Don't forget, this is right after the period identified as now in number 44. So this can happen sooner than you think. The number 45 poem is the beginning of the Doomsday prophecy. Let me first translate this to English for you. Quote, "Surrounded by darkest haze, death is no longer by knife. 10,000 people not dead, one person won't survive." This one sounds fine at first, but wait till I tell you what it really means. Now, let's look at Nostradamus's quatrain 392, quote, "The world near the last period, Saturn will come back again late. Empire transferred towards the dusky nation, the eye plucked out by the Goshawk at Nabon." Doesn't the dusky nation sound like the darkest haze? And the quote of the world near the last period makes this a clear doomsday prediction. After finding this doomsday prophecy at poem 45, and a similar warning from Nostradamus at quatrain 392, I found more doomsday quotes covered by both Tui Bei Tu and Nostradamus. However, it will be discussed in further details in another video. This is Ken Peters. Thank you for watching.